Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to cover something that could genuinely help you save a life. It's a practical, no-nonsense guide on what to do during a heart attack at home. And trust me, this is information everyone needs to know.
So let's start with a really big, sobering fact. Cardiovascular disease, and that includes heart attacks, is the #1 cause of death across the entire globe. That's exactly why knowing how to react, and react fast, is just so important.
So, what exactly is a heart attack? Well, think of it like this. Imagine the arteries that feed your heart muscle are just pipes. A heart attack is what happens when one of those pipes suddenly gets completely clogged up, and that blockage starves the heart muscle of oxygen, turning it into a massive medical emergency.
Okay, the very first step in any emergency is actually recognizing that it is an emergency. So let's get you familiar with the signs, starting with those classic symptoms that everyone should have on their radar. All right, the most famous symptom, the one we've all heard about, is this really powerful pressure in the chest. People who've been through it describe it as feeling like an elephant is literally sitting on them, or like their chest is being squeezed in a vice. It's a heavy, intense, crushing feeling.
And here's a crucial detail. That pain usually doesn't just stay in the chest. It can radiate, spread out. It can go through to the back, creep up into your jaw, and of course the classic one, go down the left arm, which might start to feel tingly or even numb.
Another huge red flag is suddenly breaking out in a cold sweat for absolutely no reason. And I'm not talking about just getting a little bit clammy, we're talking about profuse sweating, the kind that could soak right through your shirt even if you're in a cool room. It's a very, very distinct sign.
But, and this is so important to remember, not everyone gets those textbook symptoms. Some people, and this is especially true for women, might get what we call atypical signs. Things like a sudden out-of-nowhere shortness of breath, a big wave of nausea, or even a pain in your upper stomach that feels exactly like really bad heartburn. You cannot afford to just brush these off.
So how in the world are you supposed to tell the difference?
Well, a really key distinction is that heart attack pain is usually a constant pressure. It doesn't change if you move around or take a deep breath. On the other hand, pain from, say, a pulled muscle will probably get worse when you move. Or if it's related to your lungs, it'll hurt more when you breathe in deep.
Okay, so you've recognized the signs. Now we're at the most critical part, what you have to do right away. In a situation like this, every single second counts. You'll hear doctors say, time is muscle, and they mean it.
There are 3 things you need to do immediately. Number 1, and this is the absolute top priority, stay as calm as you can and call for professional medical help. Do not, I repeat, do not try the drive to the hospital. While you're waiting, have the person sit or lie down comfortably to take some strain off the heart. And this is vital. Unless a doctor has specifically told them to take a certain medication in this exact scenario, do not give them anything.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. To really drive that point home, here's a quote from a heart specialist. The advice is crystal clear. The single most important thing you can do is call for help and get to a hospital as fast and as safely as you can. Now, in the most severe cases, a heart attack can lead to something called cardiac arrest. That's when the person loses consciousness and stops breathing. If that happens, starting chest compressions right away can be a total game changer, helping to keep blood flowing until the paramedics arrive.
Right, so getting to the hospital is the mission, and speed is everything. So to maybe ease a little bit of the anxiety, let's quickly go over what the medical team is going to do once you get there.
So, in the emergency room, that team is going to move fast. You can expect them to do an EKG to check the heart's electrical signals and run blood tests to look for certain enzymes that show the heart muscle is damaged. They might also do an ultrasound of the heart, and if they confirm a big blockage, they'll likely do a procedure called catheterization to find it and pop it open with a tiny little device called a stent.
The bottom line for all of these different procedures is that they are all focused on one thing: speed. The faster they can get that artery unblocked and get blood flowing again, the less damage is done to the heart. Every single minute matters.
So we've covered how to react when the alarm bells are ringing. But now let's talk about what is, you could argue, the most powerful step of all: prevention. How do we keep this from happening in the first place? According to the experts, preventing a heart attack really boils down to managing 5 main risk factors. These are the big culprits that contribute to that plaque buildup in your arteries over the years. We're talking about smoking, diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity, and high blood pressure.
And you know what's great? You don't always need to be in a doctor's office to start keeping an eye on your risk. Here's a super simple check you can do at home. Just grab a tape measure. A quick check of your waist circumference can tell you if you have central obesity, which is a major risk factor. For women, you want to be under 80 centimeters, and for men, under 90.
And here's another essential home check: blood pressure. There's a reason they call high blood pressure the silent killer. It usually has no symptoms at all. Checking it regularly, either at home or at a pharmacy, is a really simple, effective way to stay on top of this big risk factor.
And all of this just hammers home why getting regular medical checkups is so incredibly important. You see, you can't feel things like high LDL or bad cholesterol, which is basically the main ingredient in the gunk that clogs your arteries. The only way to know your numbers is to actually get them checked.
So, when it's all said and done, it really comes down to this: knowledge is power. And taking control of your heart health starts with asking yourself one simple but really profound question. Do you truly know your own personal risk factors? Because answering that question is the very first step toward a longer, healthier life.